Some criminals are caught quickly, others disappear because they are lucky. But the individuals in this video belong to a different category. They were pursued aggressively, investigated extensively, and still managed to stay ahead of law enforcement for years. Not because police didn't try, but because these criminals exposed limitations in how investigations worked. These are the cases that forced authorities to rethink strategy. This is 5 Files. File 5 begins with a name that became a public challenge. The Zodiac Killer did not hide from police. He contacted them through letters sent to newspapers. He mocked investigators, provided cryptic clues, and demanded attention. Some of his codes were solved decades later. Others remain unresolved. Despite extensive investigation, interviews, and suspects, no official identification was ever made. The case remains open. File 5 represents a criminal who turned investigation itself into a stage. File 4 operated differently. Israel Keyes avoided patterns. He traveled constantly, selected victims randomly, and prepared years in advance. His crimes occurred across multiple states, often leaving investigators with no connection between cases. By the time he was identified, many of his victims were already forgotten by the system. FBI analysts later admitted that traditional profiling failed to detect him sooner. File 4 forced law enforcement to rethink assumptions about serial behavior. File 3 was considered unsolvable for decades. The Golden State Killer committed crimes across California, changing methods, locations, and victim profiles. Investigators chased shadows. Leads dried up. The case went cold. It was only solved decades later through genetic genealogy, a method unavailable at the time. File 3 demonstrates that failure was not due to negligence, but technological limitation. File 2 reveals a different kind of failure. Whitey Bulger was one of the most wanted criminals in the United States, yet he evaded capture for years while serving as an FBI informant. Information was withheld. Warnings were ignored. Internal corruption protected him. When the truth surfaced, it exposed institutional failure rather than investigative inability. File 2 is not about outsmarting police, but exploiting them. File 1 closes the series. The Unabomber evaded capture for nearly 2 decades. Thousands of suspects were investigated. The FBI built one of the largest manhunts in history. Yet the psychological profile was wrong. The breakthrough came not from evidence, but from a family member recognizing the writing style and a published manifesto. File 1 forced investigators to confront the limits of behavioral prediction. What connects all? 5 Files is not intelligence, but pressure. Each criminal forced law enforcement to adapt, admit error, or wait for tools that did not yet exist. These cases were not failures of effort. They were lessons written in delay. Which file surprised you the most? This was 5 Files. Subscribe.